Hello guys, my name is Nathan and you're watching Robot Masters. Today I have the new Roombas. This is the new Roomba 1000 and the Roomba 2000. Just kidding guys. These are the Roborocks. Yes, this is a Roborock video, not the new Roomba. But if you haven't watched my channel, welcome. My name is Nathan. And please hit the like and subscribe button because I got a lot of new cool robots coming down the pipeline in just a few months. And my recent video was all about the new Roomba that is soon to be released. I am so excited for it. It has 34 CFM of power. It's mind-blowing. And of course, I got my little buddy Ben here. He wants to say hi. Say hi to the camera. Hey! He is the smartest dinosaur I know. He definitely loves robot vacuums, and if I don't say something, he will definitely let you guys know in the little text box below. So in this video we're going to go ahead and do the app comparison of the Roborock S5 and the Roborock S6. The Roborock S6 is Roborock's newer vacuum and it has a $200 price increase. So you typically find these guys at $600 and for the S5 for $400. But keep in mind prices do vary. Lastly, before we begin, check out this smartphone right here. You guys recognize what smartphone this is? Please leave a comment down below if you know what smartphone that is. Smartphone on the left be the Roborock S6 application, and the smartphone on the left is going to be the Roborock S5. Keep in mind, I am running an iPhone and Android just to show that they both work on these two platforms. You might see some slight variations in the layouts of your icons. That's just with any software version, depending on what operating system you're running on your smartphone and what app version you have for the Roborock itself. Now, I've been using the Mi Home app. I know there's a Roborock app out there. I might do a separate video if I find that there's enough differences, but I think the Mi Home app is just the main launcher to the actual Roborock app. There's actually no differences. The Roborock app is just the app that controls the vacuum, and the Mi Home app is basically everything. You can control lights, fans, robot vacuums with this Mi Home app. Okay, let's go ahead and just jump right into the two. You guys should see the differences there. Show you the two icons. You can kind of see the slight variations. This is more of a rounded, and this is more square. They have a little pop-up notification in the Apple version, and you also can get that for the Android version as well. So let's go ahead and jump into these. So I currently own two Roborocks. I own the Roborock S5 and the Roborock S6. Keep in mind that this phone will be the Roborock S6, and I'll have the Roborock S5 on the right side. This is just the main layout. There's nothing really different about them. They're both about the same. They come up with your username. They come up with your devices, the location of the robot vacuums right here. Let's see if we can jump into that. Okay, so you guys can see the devices. You can change this around so you guys can see the comparison there. Jump into automation. In this automation, think of IFTT. If you ever heard of IFTT, basically it's a web-based portal that allows you to create if-then statements. So let's say, for example, you come home, you can tell the Roomba to return back to its docking station. While it's not as advanced as IFTT, it has some basic options. So let's go ahead and click the plus sign. And basically you can create a timer, you can select your device. Okay. All right, and then you can also, so here are the couple functions. Okay. So yeah, I haven't really got to play with this section yet. If you guys are more familiar with how this works, please let me know down in the comment section. That'd be great if you guys know, if you guys have used this option before. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so this is basically your profile. Gives you all your information, your shared devices, your voice services, your Bluetooth. I basically think of this application as the portal to all the Xiaomi devices. Xiaomi is a large tech company overseas, and they have a lot of different types of products. So you can link up smartwatches, air conditioners, fans, light bulbs, any type of electronic device they create. This is basically what you can set up, and that's just basically the overall settings for these devices. This isn't necessarily the robot vacuum setting. These are just the main settings. I hope that kind of makes sense. Okay, so let's actually just jump into the layout of the robot vacuums. So I'll make this guy my Android phone, the Roborock S6, we just jump into it. And then the iPhone will be the Roborock S5, which is named Basic Hippo. Okay, so you can kind of see the layout. They're a little bit different because I did map them in different areas. Let's see if I can zoom in here. So in this area on the left for the Roborock S6, I actually mapped in where the Roombas are located in my kitchen. And then for the Roborock S5, I actually mapped it in my dining room table. But when I'm doing the testings, like I'm gonna do obstacle course, why the maps look a little different is because I did in 2 different locations. So if I actually rotated the phone, you kind of notice that same layout. Now keep in mind, it took about 10 minutes to map out my house. I will go ahead and upload a second video that gives you tips and tricks how to map out your area. It was so easy, even my 3-year-old daughter was able to perform this operation. And then this map is about a month old. It's been running in my house. So let's just go ahead and start from the top. All these things up here, this is all specific to Android and iPhone. This doesn't actually have to do with the application. It's just your notification bar up top. But let's actually just drop down to the actual application. This here is your back tab. If you want to get back to the main menu and access all your electronic devices. This is the name of the robot. So I have Roborock S6 on the left here. I have the Roborock S5 here. I named it Basic Hippo. Why did I name it Basic Hippo? Well, I'm a crazy person and I like to name my devices odd names. Basically, Basic Hippo was the first thing that came to my mind. Yes, my mind works very weird. Okay, and then these 3 little dots here is the menu button, the menu tab. You have your sleep, basically that tells you the status of the robot vacuum. You have down here, you notice this is where it kind of changes. You got your cleaning area, your battery life, and the cleaning time. I think you can change this into feet squared in the menu. We'll go ahead and look at that as well. So you can double tap to recenter your map. So let's say you have it all zoomed in, double tap, and it zooms out for you. All right, so one thing to know on the Android version is you get a little power setting. So you have quiet, balance, turbo, and max. To access this setting on the Roborock S5, you can go to the menu setting, and then you have to go to cleanup mode, and there it is. It's a little tedious. You have to jump through a couple menus to get to it. I wish they had a shortcut like they do on the Roborock S6. So on the iPhone version, you're not going to have this shortcut menu right here. You actually have to go through what I just did with the Roborock S5. So keep in mind that if you're running different platforms, iPhone or Android, you may have different menu layouts. Now, new to the Roborock S6 is the max setting is 50% quieter, which is a nice plus because when you're trying to run the vacuum at night or maybe early in the morning, nice knowing that the vacuum's quiet and you don't have to wake up anyone. Now, I did notice that the Roborock S6 is significantly quieter than the Roborock S5. And you also have your mopping mode here. Okay, let me, so I'll show you that same menu on the Roborock S6. So did you notice that? That menu is slightly different. Okay, so basically those are the 4 modes of the Roborock's cleaning section. So here's one new feature that's only exclusive to the Roborock S6. Now you can actually have it go out, make a complete cleaning cycle, and if once it returns back to its dock, it will actually allow you to edit the area. Now, unfortunately, you cannot edit the area if you just kind of use my shortcuts that I'm going to show you in another video, where you can use the Go feature or the remote control to quickly create a map. You actually have to have the robot vacuum do a complete cleaning cycle before I can enable this feature. But basically what this does is it allows you to create areas. And I'll definitely show you that in another video. I'll show you all the new features that's exclusive to the Roomba S6. And then you got your no-go zone. You can add barriers. Okay, and then you get a nice little warning section right here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the menu options. So on the S6, you can do a no-go zone, which basically allows you to draw an area. I think it's up to 33 feet and as small as 1.5 feet. So you can zoom in with your map and you can create areas. You can also rotate as well. Very nice. Now, one thing to note is you cannot create a different shape. You cannot grab the sides and create a different area. You have to use a square. Or I think it could be a rectangle. And then barrier tape is more, you can just section off a certain room. And you can also rotate it. So with this one, you can actually create a bunch of little barrier tapes and create a shape if you really wanted to. And then I'll show you the barrier tape on this guy. So basically this way, you can draw lines. This one, it's kind of very similar. You just kind of grab a handle and you can change it out. What I like about the iPhone on the Roborock S5 is it has all your menus right up here, whereas on the Roborock S6, it's kind of broken into 2 sections. Your no-go zone and your barrier tapes at the bottom, and then your save buttons up top here. So it's a little bit different layout, but they both have the same function. So we took a quick look at the no-go zone. We can also restore the map. That's basically which allows you to, so if somehow your map gets corrupted, you can actually restore from the last run, which is a nice feature to have. And there's a restore function on here too. We went ahead and talked about the title, we talked about battery life, it tells you about the areas, we talked about the map, how you can zoom in, but you can't rotate it. You could double tap to center. We talked about some of the keep out zones. You could draw lines, you could do square, rectangles, make them big, small. Now let's go ahead and keep moving down. So you got this nice little charging icon, tells the robot to go back to its dock. Basically, with this one, you know, is room. So once I have this set up, I can just tell a specific room. This is very similar to what iRobot's doing with the Roombas. Is you can label a bunch of rooms like kitchen, bathroom, master kitchen. Well, I don't know. Maybe some people have 12 kitchens in their house. I only have 1. But anyways, basically, that's what this does. Okay, and then you zoned. That's basically what the Roborock S5 had. It's very similar to the no-go zones, except for instead of telling the robot to stay out of this area, it actually will clean in that area. So how does that work? Let me show you guys. So we'll start out with the perimeter, and then once the perimeter is done, it will fill in with a back and forth cleaning pattern. Now let's note one thing. Let me zoom in here. You notice this hallway right here. You guys can see that? You guys see this hallway? Apparently the Roborock S6 is smart enough to recognize that this is long and narrow, so instead of doing a bunch of S patterns, it's actually gonna try to do long back and forth patterns, which is more efficient because it's not having to turn as many times. The Roborock S5 does not do that. It will sometimes do this pattern. we can add a zone, and you can tell it to do 1, 2, or 3 times. Similar to that. So again, it's just the different placements of the icons. But the features themselves are pretty similar. You do squares or rectangles, but unfortunately you cannot change the actual shape. And that's the same thing with the Roborock S5. You can do rectangles or squares and cover an area. So we talked about the zone area. We're gonna talk about the clean icon. You notice that the icons are about the same. It's a little bit darker on the Roborock S6. So let me know, do you guys like the Roborock S5 style where it has a blue background with a blue map, or do you like the white background and the blue? I personally like this style better. It's a little bit easier to see the map than on this. But let me know in the comments below what you guys like better. This layout or this layout. Okay, let's keep on moving. So the clean button's the same. The docking is similar functions. The zoned is the same, where you can select where the robot can clean. The all button is the same. Basically, this tells it to clean all the areas. Jump into the menu. It's the 3 dots up top. So you can definitely see it's a little bit different. The Roborock S5 has a little bit longer list here. Let's just jump into the very first one. Give you guys a look here. It's very similar. You got your map beta saving mode. So what that does is when the vacuum's done, it will actually try to save the most recent map. This also allows you to do the no-go zone feature, which is basically the keep out zone. I find that the mapping mode is pretty well, so if I somehow have a map that's corrupted, I can actually restore the map and get back to its default non-corrupted state, which is a nice feature to have. Carpet boost is once the robot detects it's on carpet, it will actually increase the suction, which will help remove the debris. It should be the same. Let's jump into that. Yep, similar in design here. So here's the volume setting. So let me give you a demonstration of the voice. Here's the Roborock S6 voice.
Starting to clean.
And here's the Roborock S5 voice.
Starting the cleanup. Starting the cleanup. Starting to clean.
So let me know what you guys like better, the Roborock S6 voice or the Roborock S5 voice. Personally, I don't know. I think they're both creepy. I'm just kidding. They're nice, pleasant voices. Okay, so we can change the language. You got your cleaning history. Right here, you can see the different layout. And it also will give you a live feed of what it did. So basically cleaned here, and this is when I was starting my mapping process. But basically it's a nice little overview. It tells you how much it has cleaned and the duration, and it tells you if it cleaned or not. And it's the same thing with this. One nice touch is on the Roborock S6. You can actually just swipe between the different cleaning areas. So you keep in mind that all I was doing is just mapping my area, my room. Back into it. So this is the go feature. Basically what you do is you can drop down a pin. Show you that function. So you can zoom in on an area of the map, drop down a little pin, and the robot will figure out where it's at within the map and go to that location. Very nice feature to have. Okay, you got your maintenance and support. And kind of like what the Roombas have, they give you nice little animations and some troubleshooting issues, which is very nice. I like that companies provide the after sales support That's very important in my mind. And general settings. Your device name, you got your share device, you can check for updates. There's some more settings. This one has network information. You got your legal information. So you can kind of see that they're the same functions, just named a little bit differently and at different locations. And I'll show you guys the updates. So these are the firmwares that my robot vacuums are on. And let's go to the more settings. And that's basically what this had. It had the network information. You can look up time zones, report an issue, and add a home screen shortcut, which I think you can do with this one too, just in a different menu. Okay, there's one last function I would like to give you a quick look at. It's called the remote control function, and I think the Roborock S6 has it. Let me see if I can find it for you guys. So it's a little bit slightly different menus. Why would you use the remote control function? You guys are all grown-ups. You don't want to be playing around driving your vacuum like a little kid's toy. You don't want to be playing with your vacuum. You want your vacuum to clean. Why would you have it drive around like an RC car? Quick video on how to map out your room quickly. I find that it's really easy just to use the remote control function. You just drive your Roomba around like a remote control car, and as you're having fun doing that, it also maps out your area. That's probably the main reason I like the remote control function. Also, if you want to steer your robot to a trash can and empty out its dustbin, it's also a very nice feature. Keep in mind that these robot vacuums are smart enough to be physically moved to a new area within the map, and you can set it down, empty out its dustbin, and push the return to home, and within a few seconds, they quickly relocate where they're at within the map and go back to the docking station. A real nice feature, and I hope that a lot of robot companies offer this feature as well. So you got your basic controls. You got your forward, you got your left, so it spins left and it spins right. And here's your joystick. Okay, I think that's basically everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe to my channel because I uploads of cool robot vacuums. I do unboxings, overviews, reviews, extreme testing, and I got a special robot coming shortly from Roomba. So stay tuned for the next one.